If calm makes you anxious, you didn't grow up strong. You grew up on alert, and your body learned a rule. Quiet equals danger. It's finally quiet. No drama, no crisis. No one needs anything from you. And instead of feeling relief, your stomach tightens before your mind even knows why. If that sounds familiar, this video is going to explain something about you that most people never figure out. And by the end, you'll understand why your nervous system works the way it does and what it's going to take to finally feel safe in the quiet. People always said it like it was a compliment. You're so mature for your age. You're so responsible. I don't have to worry about you. And you believed them. But here's what was actually happening. You weren't mature. You were trained. There's a difference. Mature means you developed naturally at your own pace because you were ready. Trained means your environment required something from you before you had the tools to handle it. Picture this. You're 7, maybe 8 years old. The house feels tense. You don't know why, but you know the signs. A door closed too hard, a silence that feels different from a normal silence. And without anyone teaching you, you start scanning. What's the mood? What do I say? What do I avoid? You weren't playing, you were working. And here's what that does to a developing brain. It creates what psychologists call a hypervigilant nervous system, a brain wired to treat calm as suspicious and tension as familiar. Because in your house, calm sometimes meant the storm was coming, and your brain took notes. Stay here, because in a few minutes we're going to talk about exactly where that shows up in your life right now, and the answer might surprise you. There's a psychological term for what happened to you. Parentification. It sounds clinical, but what it means is simple. You took on emotional or practical responsibilities that belonged to the adults around you. Maybe you managed your own emotions so nobody else had to manage them for you. Maybe you became the peacemaker, reading the room, softening conflicts, keeping things stable. Maybe you just disappeared, became easy, stopped needing things, because needing things felt like a burden. And somewhere along the way, you made a decision you don't even remember making. If I'm useful, I'm safe. If I'm needed, I belong. If I don't cause problems, nothing bad happens. That decision wasn't weakness, it was intelligence. Your brain found the best strategy available with the resources you had. The problem isn't that you made that decision. The problem is that your nervous system never got the update that says, it's different now. Here's the part that changes everything. Your nervous system doesn't think in words. It doesn't reason. It doesn't weigh options. It just pattern matches. And the pattern it learned was this. Calm is temporary. Tension is real. Safety is something you earn, not something you have. Some people grew up learning calm equals safe. You grew up learning calm equals the pause before impact. So when life actually is calm, when there's no crisis, no conflict, no one pulling at you, your nervous system doesn't relax, it escalates. Because calm, to a brain that grew up in unpredictability, doesn't feel like safety, it feels like the moment before something breaks. This shows up in ways you might not even connect to your childhood. You feel guilty when you rest, like you should be doing something. You get anxious when things are going well, like you're waiting for the other shoe to drop. You create urgency where there isn't any, because busyness feels safer than stillness. You struggle to receive care without immediately thinking about what you owe in return. Sound familiar? That's not anxiety as a personality trait. That's a nervous system that never got taught what safe feels like. And here's what nobody tells you about that. It's not a flaw. It's a survival response that outlived its usefulness. The child who grew up too early becomes the adult who can't stop. You overperform at work, not because you're ambitious, because stillness feels exposed. You take care of everyone around you, not because you don't need anything, because asking feels dangerous. You're the person people call in a crisis, because crisis is where you feel most competent. But in the quiet moments, in the relationships that don't need fixing, the days with no emergency, you feel strangely lost, like you don't know who you are when you're not needed. Psychologists call this identity fusion. Basically, when your role becomes your personality, you fused with the role of the capable one, the helper, the one who holds it together. And now, even in safety, your brain keeps asking,
But what do you need me for? Stay with me, because what comes next is the part most people skip, and it's the part that actually changes things. Here's the truth that nobody says clearly enough. You can't think your way out of this. You can understand everything I just said, every word of it, and still feel your chest tighten when nothing is wrong. Because this isn't a thought problem, it's a body problem. Your nervous system learned through experience, and it can only unlearn through experience. What does that mean practically? 3 things. First, sit in 60 seconds of doing nothing, not scrolling, not planning, just still. It won't feel good at first. That's exactly the point. Second, let someone help you with one small thing this week, not because you need it, because your nervous system needs the evidence that receiving is safe. Third, when urgency hits, pause and ask yourself one question. Is this real or is this familiar? Most of the time, you'll find it's familiar. This takes time. It's not a weekend fix. But here's what's true. The child who grew up too fast didn't fail. They adapted brilliantly to an environment that asked too much. You carried what you were given, and you did it well. But you're not 8 years old anymore, and the thing you've been bracing for, it's already over. If this landed somewhere specific, comment calm below if this felt accurate, and tell me which part hit you the hardest. The next video in this series goes deeper into what happens when you finally decide to stop carrying, and why that decision can feel exactly like grief. Click it. You'll understand something about yourself you've been trying to name for years.